Hi, friends. I never expected that the person who would hurt me the most wasn't a stranger, or a distant relative, but my own brother, someone I trusted since childhood. When everything fell apart, I thought it was just greed, but later I learned the truth ran much deeper. It wasn't just about the house being sold behind my back. It was about a secret my mother kept hidden for decades. A secret that changed my entire life. Before I tell you how everything happened, let me take you back to the day all of this began, the day the betrayal surfaced. My name is Amory Hollis, and until a few months ago, I believed my family was simple, imperfect, but loving. My brother, Kalen Rhodes, and I grew up in the same house for over 25 years, a house filled with memories of our late father, and my mother's quiet, comforting presence. That home wasn't just walls and bricks, it was the only place that felt like certainty in a life full of small struggles. But everything shifted on a humid Thursday afternoon. I was returning from work when I noticed a large white envelope tucked halfway under my apartment door. No sender. No stamp. Just my name written in unusually neat handwriting. At first, I thought it was another stack of bills, but the moment I opened it, my fingers went numb. Inside were official papers, stamped and signed, property transfer documents. Documents showing that our childhood home, our mother's house, had been sold. And the signature under co-owner approval? It wasn't mine. It was a forged version of my name. My throat tightened as I stared at it, reading it again and again, hoping it was a mistake. But the buyer's details, the dates, everything was real. The first name that flashed in my mind was my brother's, Kalen. He was always impulsive, always chasing the next opportunity, always trying to prove he was the man of the family. But selling the house? Forging my signature? That was something I never imagined him capable of. My heart hammered painfully as I grabbed my phone and dialed him, but it went straight to voicemail. I drove straight to my mother's place. She was sitting in the living room, knitting a blanket, as if nothing in the world was wrong. Her face softened when she saw me at the door. But behind her smile, I sensed an emotion I had never seen before, fear. A quiet, trembling fear. "Mom," I said as I placed the documents on the table. "Do you know anything about this?" Her hands froze midair. The yarn slipped from her fingers. For a long moment, she didn't speak. Then, slowly, with a trembling breath, she whispered, "Kalen wasn't supposed to do it like this." My stomach dropped. So she did know something. But before I could ask more, she stood up abruptly and walked toward her bedroom. "Wait here," she said, her voice cracking with an emotion I couldn't identify. Minutes later, she returned holding a small wooden box, the kind that looked older than both of us. She placed it on the table between us. "This is the truth I've been avoiding for years," she said. Her eyes were red, not from crying, but from holding back tears that were long overdue. "Your father made a choice before he passed. A choice I promised I would reveal only when the time came." My breath hitched. "What choice?" She opened the box, and inside were letters, documents, and a photograph of a woman I had never seen before. My mother took a long, shaky breath. "Amory," she whispered, "there's something about your brother, and about you, that I should have told you a long time ago." Her gaze locked onto mine, full of guilt, sorrow, and something that looked like desperation. And in that moment, I knew. The house being sold was only the beginning of a much bigger truth. For a moment, all I could hear was the ticking clock on the wall. My mother's words hung heavily in the air, refusing to settle. I stared at the photograph inside the wooden box, a woman with sharp features, deep auburn hair, and eyes that carried an unsettling familiarity. Her expression wasn't warm. It wasn't even gentle. Instead, she looked like someone who hid storms behind her smile. "Who is she?" I finally asked, my voice quieter than I expected. My mother sank onto the sofa, her shoulders trembling. "That woman," she whispered, "is the reason your father changed everything. She's the reason Kaylin and you never had the same childhood, because she is Kaylin's biological mother." The world around me seemed to tilt. I felt the blood drain from my face. "What do you mean?" "Kaylin and we..." "No, sweetheart," my mother interrupted gently. "You and Kaylin aren't full siblings. He was 3 when your father married me, and I raised him as my own. But his mother, she left him behind. She disappeared from his life for reasons we never fully understood." My heart clenched. I suddenly remembered the small things, the way Kaylin always asked questions about our father but never about our mother, his anger issues, his constant need to prove himself. I thought it was just his personality, not a childhood wound he carried silently. "So he never knew?" I whispered. "He knew she left," my mother said, "but he didn't know how deeply it scarred him. Your father tried to compensate, but he was a strict man. Hard. Especially with Kaylin." She opened one of the letters inside the box. The handwriting was rough, rushed, messy, but readable. "This was the last thing your father wrote," she said, handing it to me. My hands shook as I unfolded it. In the letter, my father explained that he put the house under both our names, not to divide us, but to force us to rely on one another after he was gone. He wanted unity. But Kaylin must have only seen it as a threat, a shared burden he didn't want. My mother wiped her eyes. "Your brother thought selling the house would free him," she said softly. "He believed the money would finally give him security, something he felt he never had growing up. But forging my signature?" I muttered. "Mom, that's not insecurity. That's betrayal." She lowered her head. "Yes. But betrayal doesn't always come from hatred. Sometimes, it's fear disguised as survival." Before I could respond, a loud noise startled both of us, a car door slamming outside. I hurried to the window and saw Kaylin stepping out of his truck. He looked exhausted, anxious, and strangely pale. His eyes darted around as if he expected trouble. My mother whispered, "He doesn't know you found out." My heartbeat quickened. This was it, the moment everything would finally confront him. The front door opened slowly. Kaylin walked in, his shoulders tense. When he saw me standing in the living room, holding the property documents, he froze. For a split second, guilt flashed across his face, then quickly transformed into defensiveness. "What are you doing here?" he muttered. I lifted the papers. "You sold our home, Kaylin. Without telling me. Without asking me." His jaw clenched. "You weren't supposed to see those yet," he said quietly. "I was going to tell you after everything was finalized. After you stole my signature? After you stole our home?" I snapped. His eyes darkened. "I didn't steal anything. I did what I had to do. You would never understand." My mother stepped between us. "Kaylin, stop. Just tell him the truth." He turned his face away, but not before I saw the anger break into something softer. Something painful. "Fine," he muttered. "You want the truth?" He looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in months. "I sold the house because I thought she was coming back." "Who?" I asked. He swallowed hard. My mother. Evelyn. I got a message from someone claiming they found her. And they wanted money. A lot of money. My chest tightened. You sold our house, because you thought she wanted you back? He shook his head. No. Because I thought she needed saving. For a long moment, none of us spoke. The room felt heavier than ever, as if every unspoken pain, every childhood wound, every unshared memory was suddenly breathing in the same space with us. I stared at my brother, trying to understand how someone as guarded as Kaylin could fall for a stranger's message. Unless he was desperate. Desperate for answers. Desperate for a mother's love he never truly had. My mother, Mariel, sank slowly into her armchair, tears gathering at the edges of her eyes. Kaylin, she whispered, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell us? He avoided her gaze. You wouldn't understand, he muttered. You've always been strong. You had Amory. You had your place in this family. I never felt like I belonged here. His voice cracked, revealing the truth he had buried for years. I softened a little. For the first time in a long time, I saw not the stubborn, self-centered adult, but the abandoned 3-year-old boy who never knew why his mother disappeared. Kaylin, I said gently, you do belong here. You always did. You just didn't let yourself believe it. He laughed bitterly. Belonging doesn't come from a shared roof. It comes from knowing where you come from. And I never had that. He finally sat down, elbows on his knees, hands clasped tightly. A woman messaged me last month, he continued. Said she knew Evelyn. Said she was sick, alone, and needed help. She showed me photos that looked real. She knew details, things I never shared. He swallowed hard. I didn't want to bother anyone until I knew it was true. But then the demands for money started. And I panicked. That panic, I realized, was what destroyed everything. Why didn't you ask me for help? I asked. He looked at me, eyes full of shame. Because you're the responsible one. The one who never messes up. The one Dad was always proud of. The words pierced deeper than I expected. I never knew Kaylin carried that comparison like a blade against his own skin. Before either of us could reply, my mother opened one of the old letters in the wooden box, one I hadn't read yet. This, she said, voice steady despite her trembling hands, is from Evelyn. We both froze. You had a letter from her? Kaylin whispered. My mother nodded painfully. She wrote to us a year after she left, my mother said softly. She regretted everything. She wanted to return, but your father, he didn't want the chaos back in your life. He wanted stability. So he told her to stay away unless she was ready to be consistent. My heart pounded. So she did want to come back? I asked. Yes, my mother whispered. But by the time she got her life together, she had passed away in a car accident. 15 years ago. The room fell silent. Completely silent. Kaylin's eyes widened, and the color drained from his face. He stared at my mother as if the world beneath him had shattered into dust. She's gone? My mother nodded. I'm so sorry, Kaylin. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to break you again. I thought you had finally started healing. But the truth is, secrets never heal wounds. They deepen them quietly. Kalen dropped to his knees, elbows on the couch, hands covering his face. A raw, painful sound escaped him, not anger, not frustration, but grief. Grief for a woman he remembered only in pieces. Grief for a childhood built on unanswered questions. Grief for a truth stolen from him for protection. I knelt beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Brother," I whispered, "you didn't lose her today. You lost her years ago, but you still have us." Slowly, he lowered his hands. His eyes were red, but clearer than before. "I'm sorry, Amory," he whispered. "For the house, for hurting you, for everything." I nodded. "I'm angry. But I also understand. We fix this together. We rebuild. Maybe not the house, but our family." For the first time in years, his expression softened. The next week, the authorities traced the scammer and the sale was reversed due to the forged signature. We got the house back legally, but what mattered more was that Kalen agreed to therapy, something he had always avoided. He even moved back into the old house temporarily, not because he wanted ownership, but because he wanted to heal with us. Standing on the porch one evening, watching the warm sunset fall over our yard, I realized something important. Sometimes betrayal breaks families. But sometimes, it reveals wounds that need healing. And healing, unlike revenge, brings people back home. For the first time in a long time, we weren't just a family living under one roof. We were a family finally telling the truth. If you felt connected to this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more emotional family stories. And tell me in the comments. Have you ever faced a moment when a family secret changed everything? Your experiences might help someone who needs it. Also, share this story with anyone who could relate or might need to hear it today.